are back once again. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is another beautiful day right here in the beginning of August already. I can't believe that August is already here. Summer is almost gone for most of the kids. I know kids across the border are going to be heading back to school soon, which I'm sure a lot of the parents are going to be happy about. But, like I said, I enjoy my summers. I enjoy getting out. I enjoy being out and about in nature. As you can see, as my background, I love being in nature. But, guys, I am so excited for tonight's show because my two guests, uh, wow, I can't even begin to describe what these two guys have not only done for the paranormal voice, but just for me in general. Like, they were the guys that really introduced me to a lot of amazing people that I've come to know and to call family friends for over these years. But these guys are truly two amazing guys, huge in the paranormal community. If I could just learn how to talk, I'd be so much better in life. Maybe I should start drinking alcohol. It is August, by the way, and usually August is alcohol month. But I'm usually getting ready to drink with these guys. But this year it's going to be a bit of a strange kind of year. But right now they've got a lot of things going on, so I'm more than happy to bring these guys back on the show. See what's been going on with these guys over the past year. See what they've been up to and what they've got going on. Because what I've been seeing from their Facebook posts and all their media stuff, they have not stopped whatsoever. They are two continuous busy guys, the busiest guys in the business. What I can say right now, I'd like to bring out my two good friends, Mr. Brad Blair and Mr. Tim Ellis, and there they are.
Hey guys.
Hello, Dale.
How's it going, eh?
Oh, great. A little muggy, way on the humid side, even up here in the UP of Michigan. We're
it's
hitting
insane.
90s, 100% humidity, and I've been fortunate enough to be on the water the last couple days, but
I thought that's where you were going to do your podcast from, was from your boat, because every time I turn on social media, there's Brad taking selfies with the boy.
Well, on the boat with the beer is where I would rather be right now. Unfortunately, that little thing called work still does get in the way from time to time. So here I am back home in the office for the week. Maybe
get your legs back on the feeling for land instead of those water legs.
It's a thing. It really is.
So, Mr. Tim, what have you been up to, my dear friend?
It's just been one of those summers, I mean, as you said, even though things are a little bit different for us this year with Michigan Paranormal Convention not happening as it usually does, we've been keeping ourselves busy with writing projects with Jeff Belanger and getting ready actually this coming week to launch our Haunted River Cruise, and then next weekend coming up with a very small paranormal event we have. So yeah, as you said, we've been keeping ourselves busy regardless.
It must be strange to you guys, because usually you guys are all gearing up right about now and moving into the Creaking casino for a couple weeks, and it must be really strange for you guys not to have that feeling or that motion going through. But like I said, you guys have not stopped at all. You guys got some pretty exciting things that are coming out. Of course, we are going to talk about that. You guys got some new books that are coming out. I need something else to read. I'm running out of material here.
Well, our last project, Jeff Belanger's got his little side hustle, the Shadow Zine now, which we saw the first couple issues, and they were great. Just a lot of fun. Tim and I like to call it a great bathroom read because they're pretty compact. There's great pictures. And Jeff approached us and asked us if we would do something on the Great Lakes. I said, absolutely. So that we were on another project already that kind of got pushed to the back seat when Jeff came up with this. And this was last month, Shadow Zine issue 5. It's Monsters, Ghosts, and UFOs of the Great Lakes that Tim and I whipped up. And yeah, if you haven't seen Jeff's Shadow Zine, they're nice little reads, lots of pictures, fun stories, just kind of short to the point. Not something you have to get in depth on, but he's going with some of the best authors and minds in the paranormal field, and Tim and I, to put these issues out. So,
and
Richard,
come on,
Richard,
you guys are selling yourselves short. I mean, you guys are one of the most common people that when I see things, you guys are always a part of it. It doesn't matter. Like Brad's going to be out in Virginia next month, and Tim, of course, you're doing your thing. You're going to be at the UFO contact convention again this year.
Right.
So I mean, like you guys took one thing off your plate. I think like 20 more things fell on it.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. So Tim and I had just started up a walking tour company that we're doing. I guess for a little bit of background, Tim and I live in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, which is the oldest city in Michigan. It was founded in 1668. And we've kind of, I guess, Tim and I and our group, the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society, are kind of the backdrop of the paranormal for this part of the region, this region of the country, the world, I guess. We've been doing this stuff since we were kids in elementary school. And we finally, without having Paracon this year, we said, hey, this would be the right time to put together this tour, get all the kinks worked out. We've got an amazing guide that's doing it. It's running Thursday through Saturday every weekend of the summer here in Sault Ste. Marie. And we came up with an idea that, most of this tour is on the waterfront between Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And hey, there's a boat tour that goes along that waterfront and hits the coast of both sides of the river. And we just happen to know the guy that runs that boat tour operation. So Tim reached out, hit him up, and now we're doing 3 this year of the Ghostly River Tour. First one is coming up, this coming Thursday, and then we have one in September, one in October, and then we'll see what we do next year, possibly one a month, but we're going to play it by ear, see how that goes, and it's a totally new venture for us, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, just to be up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, it is such a beautiful community, such a beautiful place, and so much going on. And it's so good that, the community already embraced you guys years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that you're really branching out and really showing more of the community now outside the casino than ever before. So it's it's
being
amazing.
Born and raised here, it was it was easy for Brad and I to want to create something and a few things that benefited this community as a whole. Paracon, MI Paracon was certainly a part of that, and became something bigger than we ever imagined, and that was great for our community. And so, creating the walking tour and now the Haunted River Tour. And we continue to want to create events that we love doing and something that we're passionate about, but also benefits our community too. We're very proud of the community we come from, and any way we can support it, doing what we love to do, that's just a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, no, it is whatever your people can do to get back to their communities, especially something like this, because tourism up that way is a huge thing. It's cottage country, it's surrounded by the Great Lakes, so why not take an opportunity in the history of it, right? That's what a lot of people seem to go for nowadays, is not just to go someplace to go on vacation, but they like to know what else there to do, and why not learn a little bit what Sault Ste. Marie is all about.
Well,
besides being another border town.
Yeah, Sault Ste. Marie was founded, I say, in 1668, but realistically, it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years before that with the native population around here. Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, pre-war of 1812, was one big community. And this was all native Chippewa, Ojibwe community through here. And the prehistory, the pre-European history of the area is every bit as fascinating as everything that's happened since. The biggest thing is trying to delve into those legends, the history of the natives that were here before, because there was no written language. So everything was passed down orally, generation to generation. And Tim and I have been trying to dig into some of that as well. There's a little bit incorporated into the walking tours. excuse me, there'll be a little bit on this boat cruise we're doing, but this area is so steeped in history between Sault Ste. Marie and Mackinac Island, the whole eastern upper peninsula, and into northern Ontario, that it was just all one big population at one time. I think a lot of people forget that, and we like to point that back out on the tours too, as our history goes back way before 1668 when the Jesuits came and founded the city that is now called Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, I mean that's truly amazing. And so, besides this amazing ghost walk and tour, you guys got another event that's coming up. Kind of like a small version of the MI Paracon, but this takes place on the haunted boat that's there. I
Yeah,
forget.
the Valley Camp.
Valley Camp, yeah.
It's going to be a very interactive weekend, and it's the way we kind of wanted to set this up, that it's going to be a lot more of an experience. There are going to be the talks. Amy Bruni's coming in. Sarah Lemos, who's a total sweetheart, she's going to be doing a psychic gallery. Rich Estep, Todd Clements, Tim and I, and our team, the U.P.P.R.S, we'll all be giving talks at our historic Sioux Theater, which also happens to be a little bit haunted, we believe. Tim and I and the team have been able to get in there and investigate. So we'll be there during the daytime. At night, one night we're doing the river cruise. That will be strictly for attendees of this, and we'll probably add in a little bit more, maybe a little bit more macabre than we're going to put into the general public boat tours. That'll be on the Friday night, followed by a cigar lounge, little bit of drinking, a little bit of spirits going every which way, and some other regional ghost stories. Some of the best experiences that the U.P.P.R.S have had over the years that maybe we didn't find quite appropriate to put in the books, but we're going to be telling tales, maybe having a stogie or two. Excellent cocktails at Austin's Cocktail and Cigar Lounge here in Sault Ste. Marie, which also used to be an undertaker's office. Mm-hmm. So it's another old historic building, and it's right across the street from the Sioux Theater, where we're having all of our presentations at. And then Saturday night, that's going to conclude with the big investigation of the ghost ship, or haunted ship, Valley Camp, which is an old Great Lakes freighter that now sits as a museum ship here on the waterfront in Sault Ste. Marie. If you're a fan of the show Kindred Spirits, with, of course, Amy Bruni and Adam Barry, Chip Coffey, they did film an episode on there and caught some amazing evidence, as well as our team's investigations throughout the years are the reason that they came in and filmed this episode, because of some of the things that have happened on that ship have really made us walking away shaking our heads.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you're taking one of the most iconic landmarks that I can think of in Sault Ste. Marie, and you're opening it up for people to have their own experiences. Mm-hmm. People that might not, I mean, it's a museum and people around there know about it, but it's a great way to introduce it to the public in this way, of the same way you guys did with your Paracon. You guys are opening up and allowing people to come in and have their own experiences.
One thing Tim and I always talk about, and I know he'll agree and probably add on to this, but just we've been in awe over the years of some of the historic locations that we go into and say, you know, we're here to look for ghosts. We've heard stories. Your employees, your visitors have told us they've had experiences. And, you know, obviously some places are going to laugh you off and send you on your way. But some of the amazing historic places that just hand you the keys and say, here you go, guys, lock up when you're done. It's not something you expect to happen, but right. It has time and time again. Leave that cat alone.
The cat won't leave me alone. The amazing thing about the Valley Camp, too, which, you know, I've always loved, is the fact that, first of all, it was a ship that changed its name after it was sold to a new company, and that can be actually kind of an omen, a bad omen, for ships to change their name, unless there was like tragedy involved, and there never was tragedy involved with the Valley Camp. Yet the experiences on the Valley Camp lend itself to believe that the stuff that our team has captured just doing work on there has been absolutely amazing. And then, of course, what Amy and Adam found on there during their TV show, and what other people and workers and tourists have experienced on that ship too, is absolutely amazing. And one of the neat things is the fact that there is this energy on this ship, and we believe it to be the fact that on the ship there is a lot of artifacts, much like the shipwreck museum up at Paradise, up at Whitefish Point. You know, this building has this energy about it, which we believe is because of all of the artifacts in there from shipwrecks. And the Valley Camp is kind of the same way. It is a retired ore freighter, but it's a museum with all these other artifacts from other ships. And we tend to believe that the energy and the experiences we're getting on that ship is because of that.
And also the location itself too,
Right.
You know, it being on a large river and running water, you know, the whole theory of stone tape theory, and they could be giving off some of this energy. But also, there are two other locations right next to the Valley Camp that we've investigated and had activity in. One, unfortunately, is no longer there. It was an old hotel with a bar in the basement that it was kind of a local landmark. A lot of people were sad to see it go, but it was falling in on itself at some point and had to go. The Polar Ice Arena, which is another landmark of the town, one of the oldest continually running ice rinks year round in the U.S. That they've kept ice on it 12 months out of the year. And we've had some neat experiences there as well. In its old Native American fishing ground all around it, there's also an old, very old Native burial ground right up the street from there. So you've got a lot of different activities and energies meshing into this one place. Right. And then you've got this giant freighter sitting there on the waterfront. Tim talked about the artifacts, and I mean, some of the things are pretty damn impressive. Mm-hmm. The wrecked lifeboats from the Edmund Fitzgerald are sitting in there. That's something that could easily be in the Smithsonian. You know, that's world class right there. Those are sitting in the hull of the Valley Camp. So there's a lot of factors going into this investigation.
Yeah.
So with a place like that, would you guys think that also too? I mean, there's a lot of these types of ships passing by there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, you know, they have sank. You know, you think that could possibly attract people that have worked on those kind of ships before, and now their energy has found their way into this type of environment?
I think the possibility is as possible as any of the the different theories that we have of why there would be energy there in a ship that never had any catastrophe or major events on it that people died or anything like that. And also too, its location is also right next to our hydro plant, our electric plant too. So as Brad had said, the stone tape theory on top of this huge building that is creating all this energy with this flowing water. I mean, it just kind of lends itself to be this breeding ground of energy and possible hauntings and a collection of that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's very possible, Dale, for sure.
To throw you a fun story that kind of relates to that, I guess, Dale.
Yeah.
We were investigating one night with Metro Paranormal out of Detroit. We were on the ship, and a few of us were down in this room dedicated to the Edmund Fitzgerald, and one of the wrecked lifeboats is in this room. We're playing back a recording of the final transmissions between the Edmund Fitzgerald and the Arthur M. Anderson, which is the ship that was following.
Right. And
they were going back and forth, and you can find this online. I believe YouTube, you can find the final transmissions from the Fitzgerald to the Anderson. And the final line from the captain of the Fitz was, "We're holding our own." And we're playing this, trying to get some sort of a reaction. We're doing an EVP session along with it. And we get radioed from the back of the ship, and they said, "You guys have to come up here." I said, "What the hell are you doing? You're interrupting. We're in the middle of this. No, you need to come up here now." And as we're playing these final words between the Fitz and the crew of the Anderson, we get called. We run up to the top deck, go to the back of the ship, and there, probably 15, 20 yards away from us, is the Arthur M. Anderson passing in the river while we were doing this. Just the most bizarre synchronicity.
It was surreal. It kind of took everyone's breath away to the point where we all just stopped what we were doing and just watched, almost in awe of watching the Anderson go by. It was, it was a pretty special moment.
Talk about goosebumps. I mean, we're playing this. We had no idea it was in the river system at all.
Right.
And there it is, right behind the ship.
Yeah.
So you talk about
that. Yeah, you can't. You couldn't have written that any better in a movie script, right? It's just like, what are the likelihoods that at that moment, at that time, as you guys were doing that, there goes that exact ship right by you guys. That is, but that's truly amazing, and that adds to everything else that you guys have been doing and the research and stuff like that, and just how things can easily get attached to a place, a time, and stuff like that. It's just like we never know how ghosts get where they are. Like a lot of places, we can understand there was a lot of tragedy, but like you said, this was really nothing. It was just a retired boat that they turned into a museum.
The maritime hauntings, I think, are some of our favorites, so too, right, Tim? I mean, some of our most amazing evidences came from the ships, lighthouses.
Well, they have a long history. When you read a lot of stories, I mean, there are books beyond books that are written about haunted lighthouses all around the world, because these were the beacon of what showed boats where the shorelines were, but for some reason they always became haunted. That's always amazed me, because there's not too many people that really lived in them too often.
No, but I think it was such a high stress job that there was so much energy put out at that. I mean, when you think if you sleep in, if you mess up and you don't tend that light, back in the day when keepers had to haul these pails of oil up into the lights to keep the lights going, to keep the fires burning. If you screwed up and the ship was coming that way and it was your fault that it ended up on a reef, that it ended up too close to shore and beaching, that these people lost their lives, that's on you. I mean, that's your one job, is to keep that light burning and to make sure everything's running okay. So you think of the high stress that would have been in the job of a light keeper. Right. And then you've got their families, sometimes in very desolate locations, say Whitefish Point up on the shipwrecked coast of Lake Superior, Seshwa Point, one of our favorite places to investigate, right on the top of Lake Michigan. These are very rural areas, and especially with the lighthouses, you might not see anybody outside of your family or the assistant keepers for weeks, maybe even months at a time in the winter. If you had a heavy winter and got frozen in, you weren't going to see you had all the provisions going into the winter that you and your family could get by. Physically, mentally, that's a whole other story.
Right.
I mean, you're very much think Jack Nicholson in The Shining, all work and no play. You're just stashed away in this remote, snow-covered, often ice-covered area. But you've got to keep these lights going. Somebody's got to be there.
And that's one of the reasons why back in those days they tried to move the lighthouse keepers around as much as they could, because those who were stationed in the northern type lighthouses, especially in northern Michigan and whatnot, the lifestyle was so desolate and so tough and so mentally and emotionally draining. They knew that they had to make sure they were keeping tabs on them for that very reason. So the lifestyle was very tough. So as Brad was saying, the energy that would have been exuded from the people who had to work there and live there and stay there during those times, I'm sure a lot of that energy was captured within those walls.
And I think it's the same for the shipping business too.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Living on a freighter.
100%.
Tim and I both know people that work the lakes and have worked the lakes. And when you're out there, yeah, you might have 25, 26, 29 other people with you, but you're away from your family, you're away from your home. The ship becomes your home, and you're on it for weeks at a time without stepping foot on it. So you've got this other emotional, mental, I think, factor, that this energy that you're giving off while you're on that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly how it's permeating the vessel or the objects on it, but I think you leave a part of yourself on those ships that you serve on.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I've kind of experienced a little bit, because I'm a huge Titanic guy. So
I saw that picture of you holding Michael John off the end of the boat there doing the reenactment. That was,
you saw that, eh?
that was pretty awe-inspiring in its own way.
But yeah, no, I've been to a lot of these museums. There was a big one in Orlando when I went down there, but they've got actual artifacts from the Titanic that have been brought up. They found floating in the water back then. But I often think about it when you're around some of these pieces, like the energy that you feel when you're around these pieces. Like if you're anybody that can sense stuff or pick things up. I mean, I've had some pretty strange encounters just being by artifacts that came off the Titanic, knowing the story behind it
Right.
and the people. Like, if somebody was clinched to that chair when it was while it was in the water, like their energy is still soaked into that wood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and look at the whole field of haunted objects. Without getting too far into it,
Right.
look at all these things that John Zaffis has brought in over the years to his place, and some of the stories behind them, and the warbs. We just had the whole controversy over Annabelle, and should she be on tour? Should people? We don't need to get into any of that, but
Right.
it kind of comes down that line of whether or not you believe that an inanimate object, can store energy, be it human or not. Is that possible for an object to be haunted? And
Right.
under extreme circumstances, like you talk about with the Titanic, like we're talking about with the Fitzgerald, and with some of these lights and the light keepers, and I personally feel, yes, there is something that could get left behind that may play back over the years, that may be imbued in some type of an object. I don't think it's as prevalent as a lot of people would like you to think when they're trying to push some of these haunted object things, displays. Well, there's a lot of showmanship in some of this stuff, but yeah, there's definitely items that have given me the creeps over the years that we've been called in to investigate, or we've been around. Tim and I did an event in Key West this past winter that we actually did a seance around Robert the Doll.
Right.
Fort East Martello down there. And you talk about just, I don't want to say malevolent because it wasn't, but just kind of a creepy feeling. You just get that chill down your spine. We never felt like there was any type of danger that we were in, but there was definitely energy in that room at the time that we were doing that. And there were only, maybe 12, 15 people in the seance.
Yeah.
I think everybody felt the same thing.
Right. Yeah, no, haunted objects is definitely a hot topic right now because of what happened and stuff like that. But even with, regular hauntings, like, what makes like places like the Hinsdale house so haunted? The Axe Murder house, because tragedy is helped in their energy seems to stay there when tragedy happens. But unfortunately, like nobody can go and visit the Titanic unless you really want to go down. But we all saw what happened there too, and a lot of people. But that was another thing, and I mean, that whole thing. Some people were saying, was it the ghosts of the Titanic that did that? But it's like, do we really know? But haunted objects, yeah, that could be a whole series of shows just talking about
Oh, absolutely.
if things can be truly haunted buildings, like energies. Why do things stay attached to stuff? But ships, and like you guys said, it's people who worked on these boats were really that was their life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, like,
And back in the old day, I mean, before modern navigational aids, you had a really rough and tumble crowd on a lot of these ships. I mean, you needed to have a stern captain that knew how to direct people, and your first mate and everybody else. But you had a lot of transients that did the hard day labor on these ships. No women would have been allowed on the ships back in the days. This was a very rough group, and to some effect, up in our area, especially where we had a lot of lumberjacks, you had a lot of miners, especially towards the western Upper Peninsula. You had all of these different people that were doing transient jobs, and a lot of them ended up doing stints on ships. So these weren't necessarily, the nicest of people that you were dealing with on a regular daily basis. So,
Yeah.
it was not an easy lifestyle, to say the least.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it was like you said, because you're on the water for months at a time,
Right?
and people got sick, people got died, and it's not like they can just pull over and let you off. It was
No.
most of the times you were in the middle of the Atlantic, and it's like miles and miles before you were even anywhere close to
Yeah.
getting help.
Yeah.
There was a question that just came in. Have you guys ever invested Fort
Gratian.
Gratiot Lighthouse? I've never
No,
heard of this place. I don't know if you guys have.
I've heard of it. We have not
If
investigated
not,
that.
no.
The two lighthouses that we've hit the most, that we've done our most extensive work on, were Szechuan Point Lighthouse, which is our Disneyland, Tim calls it, because we have never walked away from that lighthouse without something happening that we're all scratching our heads. And we've had some of our most bizarre encounters there. And also Whitefish Point Lighthouse, which is where the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum is. And again, we've had some of our most bizarre experiences at these locations. Tim, I guess, would probably tell the story better of our big encounter, I guess you could call it, at Szechuan, where none of us could explain what had just happened.
Yeah, that's certainly the one event over the 20 plus years that we, as the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society, have been doing work together and investigating the field. The one event that ever happened actually came from Szechuan Point Lighthouse. Again, I think Brad explained it earlier. Szechuan Point is in Gulliver, Michigan, which is like right on the belly of the UP, right at the tip of Lake Michigan. And I without going back to check my notes, excuse my dog. But Szechuan Point, I believe, in French meant last hope, I believe.
Last chance, yeah.
Last chance.
Yeah.
Because if you did not make it to that area where the lighthouse was, as storms were starting in Lake Michigan, there's a good chance you were going to be lost out there. So it was one of those beacons that, as you had mentioned earlier, Dale, like these beacons were like, for a lot of people, the last chance to get to somewhere safe as these storms would kick up on the Great Lakes. And for us, though, yeah, that one event that happened at Szechuan was witnessed by the entire team, where we saw this shadow figure. Two of us witnessed it coming. We were all outside. No one was inside. We had just set up for the night. We set up the gear, and we went outside just to kind of let the gear do its thing on its own. Excuse me. And so we're just kind of sitting out in the parking lot, and I am looking at, there's 4 windows where we're at, and I'm looking at one window, and I see this shadow walk by like someone was in there. And luckily, one of our other guys, hold on, Rap, hey, sorry, the dogs are playing. Yeah, and that's my husky, so he's being an idiot. But anyway,
Now he sounds upset because you yelled at him.
yeah, he is. He's going to be very sad now. Yeah, hear him?
Oh, Rip, you come see Uncle Brad.
Yeah. So, anyways, we see this shadow figure go by the one window. Another guy sees it with me. He's like, "Did you just see what I saw?" And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." Everyone at that point says, "What did you guys just see?" And we told them that we saw. Hold tight.
It's not coming through that bad.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys, come here.
They're like, no.
That's it.
So we're all looking, and
Yes. Go ahead and finish the story, Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. So we're all looking, and we watch the next window that this figure was going towards. The curtains were closed, and we're all watching that window because we knew the figure was heading that way, and we all witnessed the curtain get pulled back as though someone was in there opening the curtain to see exactly what was going on outside. And we all watched this happen. There was 6 or 8 of us there that night. Brad was there too. And yeah, it was absolutely stunning to watch this whole thing, and to have the whole team witness it together was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then to go in, right after, we're all standing there looking at each other. Did you see that? Did you see that? Holy shit, what was that? Wait, we got to go inside. Well, I'm not going in. We don't know what. So, Eddie, it was very similar to that. But
Great.
Tim and Steve LaPlante were the first 2 to go inside the house, and they got hit with a phantom smell of, what did you describe it as, old lady's perfume?
Yeah, like, if you remember, like maybe your grandmother had that real cheap lilac perfume, and that's what we smelled, and it just blasted us in the face. And that was actually one of the reported phantom smells in the lighthouse, and we had never experienced that before except that night. You guys keep talking. I'm going to break the dogs up. I'll be right back.
Have fun with that. No, it was pretty amazing. And one of the funny things about Szechuan is we've had visual encounters there, such as the one we just described, and others have been caught on video. We've caught phantom smells. Cigar smoke is very prevalent. Captain Townsend, who's believed to be the main ghost, the people that run the lighthouse believe there are at least 3 spirits there. The captain and 2 females that were related to lighthouse keepers. We've had so many things happen. We've been touched there. The one thing that we've never got are very clear EVPs at Szechuan, which I've always found interesting because it's probably the most common phenomena that we've been able to capture in the 25 plus years, I guess we've been doing this now, is even if we have a quiet night, more often than not, we'll come away with a couple of EVPs that leave us kind of scratching our heads. Szechuan, for all of the activity that goes on there, the visual encounters, I said the olfactor, the sounds that we've encountered, we've had lights turn off and on command. We you name it, it's happened.
Physical touch.
We don't get EVPs there for some reason. So it's just one more thing, I guess, to sit and consider as we look at cases that we've been throughout the years. Yeah. Is this something that not every spirit cares to, or is every type of energy able to embed itself in an EVP? It's something worth considering when you go into a location. How many different types of activity can you try and bring out? Because maybe some spirits aren't strong enough or just don't care to communicate by answering your questions.
That way,
that might be the case with Szechuan.
Yeah. Now, my one question would be: have you guys, and I get this a lot because living just just off the Detroit River, but being around the Great Lakes most of my whole life, have you guys ever experienced what they call a ghost ship?
Not firsthand.
No, we've had stories told to us from people who have, but yeah, we never have.
It's difficult to investigate a ghost ship, almost impossible, I would say, unless you're at a location that has something that occurs on a regular basis, be it annually or, and even those are kind of hard to pin down. You could sit out all night and record the waterfront and sea. And it's fascinating. Like you said, living on the lakes and being around all of this activity that we are and so much energy. And I love the stories of ghost ships that people see. And we've talked to several people that have had firsthand encounters that we really couldn't explain away for them.
Right.
But no, outside of sitting out on my pontoon with a couple cases of Blatz and waiting for a ghost ship to go by, which I'm good with, it's a difficult form of haunting to investigate, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just, for the people that have experienced it, like their accounts about it it's just, it's like you can't make that up. The way to describe something like that.
One of my favorites is one of the old light keepers at Whitefish Point had their granddaughter with them. And she reported seeing this, and this is turn of the century, early 1900s. She reported seeing the ship with old sails go by and this tinkling bell that she heard. And when she told her grandfather about it, he kind of got creeped out and made her come back in the house. And this was a late fall day. And of course, the gales of November, as anybody on the lakes knows, worst time of year for shipwrecks. It's the time that sailors do not want to be out there because the weather can change like that.
Right.
You can go from a pleasant day to a squall to snowstorms. She saw this ship go by, and a day later they found out that 2 other vessels had wrecked west of there with complete losses of life. And one of the people on the scene of near where the wreck was claimed that around the same time they saw this same ship go by. There was no breeze, but it was moving with full wind in the sails and this strange little tinkling bell and a light off the end of the ship. Wow. And that was written in her diaries. It was something that she, at the very least, believes she experienced. And her grandfather, who was a lightkeeper, had worked on the lakes for many years. He'd worked in other lighthouses outside of Whitefish as well. It really creeped the hell out of him because he felt that was an omen of death. And when they found out after the fact, he felt he was confirmed on that. But yeah, a lot of stories of ghost ships being portents of doom. Yeah. Are they not? Some, the Griffin, the first shipwreck on the Great Lakes, still never been found for sure. There have been a few different locations that people believe wreckage they found was from the Griffin. But that's believed to be a bad omen. If people see that, it's a sign that their ship is doomed or they're going to have negative effects in their life coming up. Other ships we've heard of that have supposedly led ships back off of reefs, led them away. The Bannock burn that went down somewhere in Lake Superior, again, never been found. It's been reported and it had a very distinctive 3-mast shape to the top of it. And people have reported seeing it and moving out of the way. And had they gone in that direction where they were afraid they would have collided with what they believed to be a ship there, they would have ended up on a reef, on a rock bed, being grounded. All of these things that you should be well aware of if you're in the maritime trades. And most of this, of course, occurred before they had regular radar sonar on the ships. So you didn't have the modern navigation aids at the time. But I love hearing these stories, especially from the old seafaring people in the areas. There's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean the waterways hold a lot of stories, like you said. I mean, waterways was the main way to transport things around the world.
Yeah.
Before there was airplanes and trains. Everything was everything was put on the water and shipped from one country to another. It is one of. I think it's one of the most popular way. I mean, especially when getting stuff from China to parts of the world and vice versa. I mean, it's still the most easiest way and cheapest way to.
Most economical, yeah. You look at how much these modern day freighters and ocean liners can carry versus a train car versus semis. And it's just, there's no question, hands down, it's the most efficient way still to haul freight from port to port to port. So,
Yeah, it's definitely one of the oldest traditional ways, and the stories. It probably talking to these people is just like talking to a war veteran, and
yeah,
the things that they've experienced, and the beliefs, and
they have their
the
own
do's and
role.
the don'ts, and
Right.
like step on a crack, break your mother's back type of deal. But the waterways, like, yeah, it's like superstitious. What I was looking for.
Yes,
Mhm.
they have their own superstitions. They have their own lore. They have, and it's a lifestyle in and of itself. And when you talk to people that have worked in these trades year after year, you realize that they're still a very superstitious lot to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've heard like rituals, like some of them, how they get on and off the boats, and
Mhm.
certain areas you don't go to because just that was Grandpa Jones' captain. That was his bunk. You don't sleep in that bunk type of deal.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, very superstitious crew for sure.
Yeah, for us, I want to hear about UFOs stealing water out of the Great Lake Erie.
Hmm.
Got to be someone out of this world. Anyone know, or who? Anyone knows over the years?
Good call, Tim. Good call. That's, yeah. If I was going to steal water out of any of the lakes, I think I'd go for Superior. A lot colder, a lot fresher, and a lot less polluted. So, good. Yeah. Although maybe there's something in the Lake Erie water that they can use for their propulsion units. So it might be fuel. I don't know. We'll
Well,
look into that and get back to you.
well, yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, it would be interesting to talk to some of these guys that are living their lives on the boats. Like, I wonder how many UFO stories they got.
Yeah, to get to Timmy Rehan's question on that too, you look at stories of the USOs, unidentified submersible objects,
Yeah.
and some of the ones that have been spotted coming in and out of Lake Michigan, out of areas of Lake Superior. You know, when Tim and I give presentations, we talk often on the Lake Superior anomaly. It's this big 2 by 3 mile something at the bottom of Lake Superior off of Isle Royal, and it showed up on Google Earth. And people are trying to decide, what could this be, a natural formation? It could be, but it seems too uniform. And we look at that area of the lake and how many UFO encounters have happened there. There was a mermaid sighting in 1782 that it was very famous. It's been penned many times in many different stories on superstitions of Lake Superior and the Great Lakes. Well, when you look at the island that occurred at, it was right off of where this anomaly is. And you look at the description of this supposed mermaid that these voyageurs encountered, and they don't mention scales, they don't mention a tail, they don't mention hair. They mention seeing out in the water about 50 yards something that looked like a small child with big eyes, and just from the torso up, they saw it. Well, you think of how they describe gray alien encounters, and they're about the size of an 8, 9 year old child. They didn't say anything about hair in this story that was written down by Benon St. Germain, who was the voyager that experienced this. What was interesting is they had a Native American guide with them. And when Benon grabbed his rifle and tried to shoot at this mermaid, whatever it was, the guide tackled him and said, no, Nibinabe is very sacred to the Native American people. If you harm it, we're all doomed. Something along that lines.
Yeah.
Anyway. And Nibinabe is Native American water gods or water spirits. So they weren't surprised. The native with the group was not surprised to see this thing. It seemed like they'd encountered something like this before, right in the same area where this anomaly is, that there's been speculation over the years that this could be a USO base. There may be something flying in and out of the lakes. And people throughout the years have reported strange objects shooting out of Lake Superior. We've heard the same thing in southern Lake Michigan. It's rural enough There aren't many people around. If you wanted to hide out far enough below the water, nobody's going to get down there. And that's the thing. You can't really explore this without a full-on submarine or a submersible camera, remote submersible vehicle. You wouldn't be able to get down deep enough. A normal person diving could not take the pressure this deep in Lake Superior where this is located at. So, yeah, to me, it makes perfect sense that this could be an underwater base of some sorts. And then you factor in these other encounters. We look at the Kinross UFO incident where there was an unidentified object over the Sioux Locks, and we had this fighter jet scrambled from Kinross Air Force Base in the 50s to try and intercept it. They chased this object at a high rate of speed across the lake before the two objects merged and disappeared. Nothing was ever heard from the pilots again. No wreckage was found, no flotsam, nothing. Well, the exact direction that this unidentified object was going was right towards where this Lake Superior anomaly is. So there's a lot of different factors that make me think there is something more to this than we know.
Yeah. I've always said the Kinross incident is a bigger cover-up from the U.S. military than anything they've ever covered up, whether it be, Roswell or whatever, because we literally have two missing in action Air Force military soldiers who are missing because of this incident to this day. And, the military tried everything they could to cover it up. And slowly but surely more and more information's getting out there, but it's a story that deserves to continue to be told. And remove all of the ghost stories of the Great Lakes area and the mysteries that still surround the Great Lakes is unending, whether it be UFOs or sea creatures or just unexplained phenomena. We've got the Lake Michigan Stonehenge, which is an absolutely amazing story that is older than actual Stonehenge in England. We've got the Great Lakes Triangle, which is in Lake Michigan. We've got which you found through your research, the roads in Lake Huron. So the mysteries that surround the Great Lakes is more than anyone knows until you really start to dig into it. And Brad and I guarantee, are just scratching the surface in our research.
A book about that.
Yeah, someone did, right?
That was an amazing book. I'll tell you, I did enjoy reading that one.
Yeah, but when Brad and I wrote that book, it really allowed us to start to dig into beyond the ghost stories, just the legends of the Great Lakes region. And again, like I said, I guarantee we're just scratching the surface, and I look forward to continuing to dig into it even more, because it's amazing the mysteries that surround this part of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I remember as a teenager, Jacques Cousteau did a whole thing of the Great Lakes, and they were saying like some of the things that he experienced while exploring the Great Lakes, he will never talk about. I mean, he can't now, but well, we can conjure him up. We have Ghost Box, so let's get it going. But they said like he experienced stuff. Him and his crew experienced things while being out on the Great Lakes that were so unexplainable that they would never tell anybody about them. Now, maybe there's logbooks of this stuff that are hidden somewhere, but those would be interesting to see.
One story I did hear about the Cousteau expedition when it came up to investigate the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is when they went down and sent the cameras down, there was some strange light that they saw, and you're at the bottom of Lake Superior, some strange light that they saw coming from the cabin. And some of their equipment started to die off unexplainably. Right. And they bring it back up, check everything over. The equipment was fine. They'd send it back down, it'd get down to the Fitz, and all of a sudden everything malfunctioned again. They weren't getting the footage that they were trying to record for some reason. But when they tore everything apart and explored, there was no mechanical reason why it wasn't working. And it worked fine until they got right up near the structure of the actual wreck. and that freaked the hell out of the crew, I was told, and that they ended up cutting that a bit short, I believe.
Yes, no, the Great Lakes is just that. It is a huge mystery. As old as tales can go, there are stories about the Great Lakes. A lot of tragedy, but a lot of really strange occurrences that have happened in around the areas. So I'm glad you guys are out there. You guys are shining a little bit of light on this. Like you said, you're just scratching the surface. Who knows where this is going to go? But I'll tell you guys, it is truly amazing. I'm so glad that I got to spend this hour with you guys, picking your guys' brain about. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity right now to plug whatever it is you guys need to plug so that we can get eyes and ears on your guys' event and what you guys are up to.
Well, I guess catch us both on social media. We probably interact. We're old fashioned. We probably interact a little bit more on Facebook than all of the other mega platforms out there, but you can hit either of us up that way. We've got, this coming week, we've got our first of, well, 4, including with our event coming up, but our Haunted Riverboat cruises. That's through Famous Sulak's Boat Tours. And again, we put all of the info up on our social media sites for this. Then next week's the Ghostly Great Lakes weekend with ourselves, our team, the U.P.P.R.S., Todd Clements from Hansa Mackinac, Psychic Sarah Lemos. We've got Amy Bruni and Richard Estep on that one. Hey, it's my time to talk to me. Tim will be heading down to UFO Contact in Houghton Lake in late September, that same weekend. I'll be doing Sage Paracon in Virginia at Belgrove Plantation. What else we got coming up, Tim?
I do believe we've got Timmy Rehan's event coming up. Do we not?
I think so.
Old Mill Bear Fest.
We've been asked. Tim hasn't gotten back to us again, but
I do believe you'll see us down in Dundee in November, early November. Yeah. And that might be it for the year.
We've
other
got
than some library events.
Some regional library talks.
Yeah.
Of course, we always around Halloween time. We'll be doing the 26th, I think, annual U.P.P.R.S. live ghost hunt.
Haunted Halloween broadcast, yep.
Unless you've cut us from that.
Have not. We will be doing that.
October 30th. That's 26 years and running. Good God.
Yeah. So again, as Brad said, just follow us on our social media. We keep everything updated on there and links to where you got to go to and where you can find us and what's going on.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you have to pick up their books, Supernatural and the Great Lakes
Monsters and Mysteries.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
Two amazing books, great reads, lot of history. Like I said, I look forward to next time you guys pull out another book. Like I said,
don't forget Jeff Belanger's Shadow Zine.
Shadow Zine, that's another truly amazing book.
And Brad, do you have your book there?
Oh, of course.
Don't forget Brad's book too that he put out.
That was another great read.
So, got everything. I've even got my pet goat. Keep that handy right here.
Nice.
That sounds like you guys planning the MI Paracon all those years.
Really
did. Pretty much.
That's not much of an exaggeration.
No.
Well, guys, like I said, it is an absolute pleasure to be catching up with you guys. I'm glad you guys are still out there doing your thing, bringing haunted events to the nation. And I look forward to getting back up to the Sault Ste. Marie area to have a couple beers with you guys. That's like I said, it's usually that big circle on the calendar. It's just not there this year, and it looks very strange. But I'm glad you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your upcoming event. Don't forget, guys, all their information, you can find it on the miparacon.com website. Ghostly Great Lake Weekend, really amazing speakers, great people, great time. So please head on up there. Give yourself an opportunity to hang out with these guys and learn something you never thought about the Great Lakes before. You might look at the water a little bit differently after spending a weekend with these guys.
Great.
But guys, thank you so much. Everybody on the side, thank you so much. Everybody who's watching, thank you so much. Thank you for all the love and support. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't for these two guys right here, the Paranormal Voice would not be what it is today. Let me tell you, they definitely opened up doors for us and given us the opportunity to do what we love to do, and that's talk about amazing events and ghost stories. So, guys, take care. We will be in touch very soon. In the meantime, everybody, stay tuned. I think the next Paranormal Voice show will be coming up August 30th when I will be having the amazing MJ Dixon, who's going to be talking about Sage Farrakhan. She'll be coming your way. That is a special time, Saturday, August 30th at 3 p.m. So, guys, tune into that. In the meantime, everybody, thank you for joining us. Tim, Brad, we will talk to you guys soon. In the meantime, everybody, have a wonderful night. Happy hauntings.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
Media.